He stopped mid-sex to reply, "Babe Redheart." By morning I had wiped $100 million from his account. Our anniversary night was supposed to feel special, soft, warm. For a moment it did. His body moved with mine, his breath on my neck, the kind of closeness that made me forget every small worry. Then he froze. Literally froze, still inside me, while his phone lit up on the nightstand. His head turned. His smirk grew. A message glowed across the screen. "Babe Redhearts." My heart cracked so sharply it felt like a sound in the room. He chuckled, actually chuckled, and reached for the phone. I lay under him, stunned, cold, staring at the side of his face as he typed. The rhythm of his fingers replaced the rhythm we just had. He whispered, "Sorry, it's just work," but I saw the truth. The red heart emoji danced in the reflection of his pupils. Right there, everything I thought I knew broke apart. Hit subscribe if you've ever been blindsided by the person you trusted most. When he finally rolled off me, he was asleep within seconds. I lay on my back, staring at the ceiling, feeling the air change. The room still smelled like candles, perfume, and betrayal. My chest felt tight, almost bruised. His snores filled the silence like someone else's voice. I turned my head and looked at the phone he carelessly dropped beside his pillow. My hand moved before I stopped it. The lock code was the same, my birthday. Inside, Babe Redheart wasn't a name at all. He had hidden it under a fake business contact, Client Services East. Clever. Cowardly. As I scrolled, my stomach twisted. Flirty emojis. Late-night messages. Lines that once made me blush now stabbed me. "Miss you already. I love how you moan." Then, as I stared, a new message came in. "Same time tomorrow?" My heart didn't break this time. It hardened. My hands shook as I opened his thread with her, but the shaking didn't stop me. I took screenshot after screenshot. Each click of the camera sound steadied me. I caught everything, every lie, every kiss emoji, every moment he gave her that he had stolen from me. The more I captured, the less I felt. It was like my body knew crying would be a waste. Then I hid a message with a photo attachment. I opened it, expecting more filth. Instead, I saw something worse, a wire transfer screenshot. His company's logo sat in the corner. A payment to her. A large one. My breath caught. Why would he pay her from the company? What was she to him besides a warm body? Another message explained it. "Here's your bonus. You earned it." He hadn't just cheated. He had tied the cheating to his business. The business I helped him build. A cold calm settled over me. Evidence. That's what these were. Evidence. And I would use it. When we first met, he was broke but brilliant, a dreamer with sketches of ideas and no clue how to pitch them. I loved him for that spark, that hunger. I believed in him before anyone else did. I built his first pitch deck. I edited his first proposal. I sat beside him in cafes while he practiced his speeches. I told everyone he was going to change the world. And he did, or at least the tech world. His big idea turned into a $100 million company in just 5 years. Everyone called him the genius. Reporters chased him. Investors adored him. But late that night, staring at the screenshots I saved, something hit me like a punch. I had helped build his empire. Every long night, every idea I shaped, every connection I brought to him. It all fed a kingdom he now shared with another woman. My chest burned, but my mind sharpened. If I helped build it, I could help break it. The next night we went to a gala, one of those fancy events where everyone pretends to like each other. He held my waist like nothing had happened. He kissed my temple, called me my queen, told people we were celebrating another great year. Inside, I felt like a ghost walking beside him. His phone kept buzzing in his pocket. I saw the way he smiled at the vibrations, not at me. I didn't need to guess who it was. Then I caught a clear look at the number flashing on his screen. My breath stilled. I knew that number. I had seen it many times. It belonged to his assistant. Young. Ambitious. Always at his side. Someone I'd trusted, someone who'd smiled at me and thanked me for all you do for him. The room spun for a heartbeat. I steadied myself. He wasn't just cheating. He was cheating with someone inside his company. Someone who benefited from his power. Someone who could help him hide everything. But I knew something he didn't know. I still had access to everything. I couldn't breathe when I realized his assistant was Babe Redheart. My mind raced through every meeting, every smile she gave me, every time she said, "He's working late, but he'll be home soon." I remembered how she brought him coffee with hearts drawn in the foam. I thought it was cute. Now it felt like poison. That night, while he showered, I sat with his laptop. He never removed my admin access to his cloud. He trusted me too much. Or maybe he never imagined I would stop being blind. Inside his iCloud, I found a hidden folder named Project B. My stomach dropped. It was filled with selfies. Her in hotel rooms, in his office, in the back seat of his car. Photos of him kissing her neck. Videos of her whispering, "Miss me." They had been together for months. Maybe longer. I didn't cry. I didn't feel anything at all. I just watched each image like it was evidence, not heartbreak. Evidence I would one day use. A strange stillness came over me. My heart should have been breaking, but instead it felt like it was turning to steel. I looked at every photo again, slower this time, studying their smiles, their poses. It was almost like watching strangers who had stolen my life. Instead of crying, I opened a new note in my phone and typed one line. "This will not end with me hurt. It will end with him ruined." Something inside me shifted then. Some part of me that had always forgiven, always soothed, always tried to keep the peace, died there in front of that glowing screen. I didn't throw anything. I didn't scream. I didn't wake him. I simply remembered something he always forgot. I helped build his entire system. I had access to everything. His servers. His dashboards. His financial controls. Even his security settings. And I knew exactly where the traps were buried. Because I had helped bury them. This betrayal wouldn't end with heartbreak. It would end with collapse. The next morning, I played the perfect wife. I made breakfast, kissed his cheek, sent him off as if nothing had happened. Then I changed clothes, grabbed my purse, and drove across town to meet someone who never lied to me. Daniel's accountant's wife, Marcia. We met for brunch sometimes, talking about travel, clothes, gossip. She had no idea what storm I carried inside me as I stirred my tea. Casually, I asked, "Has your husband been busy with Daniel's company lately?" She nodded. "Oh yes. Daniel moved everything into joint accounts. All holdings, all assets. He said the new tax strategy needs both signatures." I froze. "Both. Yours too," she said, smiling. "It means you're protected." Protected. She had no idea she just handed me the key to a kingdom he thought he controlled alone. Every dollar he had, every profit, every bonus, every investment, passed legally through my signature. The empire he built on lies was now balanced on a foundation he didn't know I owned. And soon it would crumble. That night, when I got home, I opened a fresh journal and wrote the title across the first page. Restoration. Not revenge. Not anger. Restoration. Restoring what he took from me. My peace, my trust, my self-worth. I listed steps. Big ones. Small ones. Quiet ones. Each one a thread in the net I was weaving. Step 1. Gather evidence. Step 2. Confirm financial access. Step 3. Track all hidden accounts. Step 4. Prepare emotional distance. Step 5. Never let him see me break. I deleted his picture from my phone wallpaper. The space felt strangely empty, then strangely freeing. I replaced it with a blank black screen. And I changed Babe Redheart in my contacts to one word, Target. It didn't make me feel guilty. It made me feel awake. Because now I wasn't just the wife. I was the storm he never saw coming. The next week, he left for a business trip. He kissed my forehead on the way out, smelling like the cologne I once loved. I waited 10 minutes, then sent him a soft text. Miss you already. Wish I could be there. No reply. An hour passed. Nothing. 4 hours. Still nothing. Then, just before midnight, he finally texted back. Sorry babe, busy day. But I already knew where he was. I had his assistant's travel schedule synced from months ago. She always shared it with me so I could help him stay organized. She had checked into a hotel under the company's name. The same hotel he was staying in. The same floor. I stared at the hotel information glowing on my screen. Then I booked a flight. One seat. One purpose. My hands didn't shake anymore. My fear was gone. Something colder had replaced it. Something clear and sharp. By morning, I would see the truth with my own eyes. The flight was short, but my mind traveled miles. I wore a simple white dress. Not for him, not for her, but for the version of myself I was leaving behind. When I reached the hotel, I walked straight to the elevator, my steps steady and strange, as if someone stronger was moving my legs for me. I stopped at his door. Room 814. I didn't knock right away. I listened first. Soft laughter. A voice I knew. Hers. Then I knocked. The door opened, and she stood there in his shirt, my husband's shirt, draped over her like a cheap trophy. Her eyes widened. Before she spoke, he appeared behind her, towel around his waist, hair wet from the shower. His face drained of color. What are you doing here? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The truth was already standing between us, wearing his shirt. The room smelled like their perfume and sweat. A mix that once made me love him now made my stomach twist. Neither of them spoke. They just stared, waiting for me to scream, to cry, to fall apart the way they expected. I did none of that. I reached for my ring, our ring, and slid it off slowly. It felt heavy, like it carried every lie he had told. I placed it gently on the bedside table between their two rumpled pillows. He whispered, "Wait, please," but his voice shook. I turned away. No words. No tears. Not for him. Not anymore. I walked out of the room, down the hallway, out of the hotel, and into a waiting taxi. When the driver asked, "Where to?" I opened my laptop instead of answering. I didn't know my destination yet, but I knew his. Down. The taxi hummed through the night, city lights streaking past the windows. I logged into the financial dashboard I had set up years ago, back when I believed he and I were one team, one dream. He never removed my admin access. He trusted me too much. The dashboard loaded. Numbers filled the screen. Millions stacked like towers made of glass. And then I saw it. One key account, $100,000,000, still listed under joint authorization. My name sat beside his. My signature still ruled half the empire. I leaned back in the seat, letting the weight of that number settle in my chest. It didn't feel like money. It felt like power. Power he handed me without realizing it. Power he thought I would never use. But he paused our marriage for another woman. Now I was about to pause his world. He called that night. Of course he did. His voice shook, but he tried to hide it behind a soft tone. "Baby, where did you go? Let's talk. This isn't what you think." I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I breathed slowly and answered sweetly, "I'm okay, love. I just needed air. Let's talk tomorrow." He relaxed instantly. I heard it. He believed me. He always believed I would forgive him eventually. While he talked about just a mistake, I opened his encrypted folders, copied files, and transferred years of chats and secret exchanges into an external drive. I didn't speak much. I didn't have to. He filled every silence with excuses, thinking my quiet meant softness. He forgot something important. Silence can also mean strategy. When he finally whispered, "I love you," I clicked download on a folder labeled private. Inside were things even he didn't want to remember. The next morning, I messaged the one person who could help me pull the final thread. My old college friend, Evan. A cybersecurity expert. Brilliant. Loyal. And someone who owed me a favor after I once saved him from failing his capstone. We met at a small cafe. I told him just enough. Betrayal, lies, stolen years. Not everything. Not the part where my heart had turned to steel. He listened, sipping black coffee like he was reading a code he understood perfectly. Finally he said, "If you want to make a man disappear financially, I can show you how." I didn't blink. I want to make him face what he's done. He nodded and opened his laptop. Then we start with the shadows. People hide the truth in the numbers. We spent hours reviewing his systems. Every corrupt invoice. Every fake travel charge. Every buried transfer. By the time we were done, one thing was clear. My husband wasn't just a cheater. He was a thief. And thieves fall hardest. Evan and I met again the next day in his small apartment filled with humming screens. He pulled up the company ledger I once helped design. I recognized every column, every tag, every hidden field. But now I saw it with new eyes. He scrolled slowly. "Here," he said, pointing to a batch of invoices. Fake vendors. No real address. All approved by him. My stomach tightened. I knew those approvals. I remembered him blaming employees for missing funds. He had fired 2 people over these numbers. Evan clicked again. More shell accounts. More secret payments. More lies. I whispered, "He used the company like a personal wallet." Evan nodded. And he left fingerprints everywhere. The files piled higher. Digital proof of a man building an empire on dirt. Proof that he wasn't just unfaithful to me. He was unfaithful to everyone who believed in him. I saved every discovery into a private folder on my drive. We weren't just building a case. We were building the fall. When he got home that night, he acted like the perfect husband, cooking dinner, pouring wine, telling jokes. He looked at me with soft eyes, like nothing in that hotel room had happened. I watched him carefully, not as a wife, as someone studying a dangerous animal. Halfway through dinner, his phone buzzed. He flinched, just a little. I didn't react. I calmly cut my food. He checked the notification under the table, but he wasn't fast enough. I saw the name. Babe Redheart. Last night was perfect. His face drained. He looked up, unsure if I had noticed. I smiled. A gentle, sweet, deadly smile. Good food tonight. He relaxed again, thinking my silence meant trust. But silence is where traps grow. When he leaned over to kiss me after dinner, I let him. His mouth tasted like lies. He had no idea the walls were already closing in. Later, he reached for me in bed. His hands on my waist, his breath warm on my neck. He thought affection would fix anything. He thought I was still the woman who forgave easily. I wasn't. But I let him continue. Not because I wanted him, but because I wanted him comfortable. When he moved above me, he whispered, "I miss us." I whispered back, "Don't stop this time." His eyes lit up like I had given him a gift. He didn't realize I was giving him a mirror, reflecting the exact words he broke me with. He fell asleep right after, smiling like a man safe in his kingdom. I watched him in the dark. Not with love. With calculation. Tomorrow, I would gather everything. Everything he tried to hide. Everything he thought he buried. He dreamed beside me. I planned beside him. The moment his breathing deepened, I slipped from the bed. The house was silent except for the soft hum of appliances and his steady snores. I opened his phone again. He never changed the password. This time, I went deeper. I synced all his data to my cloud. Every chat. Every video. Every deleted message. One folder caught my eye. Drafts. Inside were notes for a prenup revision, one he never showed me. I reread the lines, feeling heat rise in my chest. He planned to remove me from all future shares, to limit my claim if marriage strain occurred. He had even added a clause calling me a potential financial risk. A risk. After everything I had built for him, I sent the files to myself. No guilt. No doubt. Then I closed his phone, set it gently on the nightstand, and looked at him one last time. He thought I was sleeping beside him. But I was taking back my life. The next morning, I visited our family lawyer, Mr. Sullivan. I had known him for years. He greeted me warmly, unaware of the war I carried inside. "I just want to review some estate documents," I said lightly. He nodded and brought the files. As he stepped out to get coffee, his assistant, my cousin Leah, leaned close and whispered, "You'll want to see what he's planning next week." My heartbeat slowed. "What do you mean?" She slid a paper toward me, an unsigned revision he had scheduled to finalize. It matched the drafts on his phone. He wanted to cut me out. Completely. I kept my face calm for Sullivan's return, but inside, something hardened into pure resolve. When I left the office, the sun felt colder. He wasn't planning a future with me. He was planning to erase me. But he forgot something important. You cannot erase the woman who built the system. And I was done staying quiet. If you'd like, I'm ready to continue with chapters 21 to 25, where the tension spikes and the countdown to revenge begins. I walked home slowly from the lawyer's office, letting the truth settle in layers. He wasn't just cheating. He wasn't just lying. He was preparing to push me out of everything. Our home, our business ties, our future. But when I walked through the door that night, I smiled as if nothing had changed. He hugged me, unaware that I now knew his final plan. We ate dinner together. He talked about meetings and travel. I watched him like someone studying the last hours of a fading king. When he bragged about a big business change coming soon, I nodded gently. "Perfect timing," I whispered. He thought I meant support. But I meant something else entirely. Because now I wasn't just reacting to betrayal. I was preparing the endgame. And he had no idea I was 3 steps ahead. His birthday arrived 2 days later. I planned a huge surprise dinner, inviting all his close friends, co-workers, and investors. Everyone dressed nicely, smiling, greeting him with loud cheers when he walked in. He looked proud, like the world was his stage and I was just the wife holding the lights. He kissed my cheek, wrapped an arm around my waist, and told people, "She's my rock." The lie tasted bitter. Halfway through the night, I tapped a glass to give a toast. The room quieted, all eyes on me. I smiled softly and said, "To trust, the one thing you should never waste." His eyes twitched. Just slightly. Just enough to show he heard the hidden blade in my words. People clapped. He forced a laugh. But panic had already planted its seed, and I watched it grow behind his smile. That night, he barely slept. I could feel the tension coming off him like heat. He kept checking his accounts on his phone, then locking it quickly as if I didn't already know every secret he held. Nothing had changed in the numbers. Yet, everything still looked normal. Stable. Safe. His kingdom untouched. But at exactly 3:02 a.m., a small alert popped up on his screen. System audit initiated. He sat up fast, heart pounding loud enough for me to hear. He whispered, "What the hell?" I pretended to stir in my sleep. "Everything okay?" He swallowed hard. "Yeah, work stuff." I rolled over, hiding a small smile. He stared at the screen for a long time, knowing something was wrong, but not knowing where the storm was coming from. The fear had begun. And fear was only the beginning. The next day, I packed quietly. Not in anger, not in panic, but in calm preparation. I folded clothes, closed drawers, sorted documents. The final phase would begin at dawn. I needed to be ready. He paced around the house all morning, phone glued to his hand. He kept muttering about numbers, not matching, and glitches in the system. "There's nothing to worry about," I said sweetly. "Maybe it's just routine." He nodded, trying to believe my lie. He always believed my lies because he assumed I never told any. That night, I slipped into bed beside him for the last time. He wrapped an arm around me, holding me tightly, as if he could feel something slipping from his grasp. My phone buzzed once under the pillow. A message from Evan: "Everything's ready." I closed my eyes. Morning would end everything he took for granted. At 3:14 a.m., I woke silently and reached for my laptop. My heartbeat was steady, almost slow. The house was dark except for the glow of the screen. I logged into the financial portal, still with full authorization. He had never imagined I would use it. I began the series of authorized reversals. One click. Then another. Then another. Funds started sliding out of his reach like water slipping through fingers. Into secured escrow accounts under my legal joint ownership rights. Every transfer was clean, recorded, and protected. The number on his main account dropped fast. $100, 000, 000, $76, 000, 000, $51, 000, 000, $20, 000, 000, until finally, $0. His entire empire, everything he built, everything he bragged about, everything he used to impress other women, now sat safely in my control. I closed the laptop, breathed out slowly, and whispered to the darkness. He paused for her. I paused his whole world. If this moment hit you hard, hit subscribe, because the real destruction starts now. He woke to alarms. Loud ones. His phone buzzed again and again, lighting up the darkroom with red warnings. All accounts frozen. Unauthorized audit detected. Funds under legal review. He bolted upright. What is this? I watched him from the doorway. His hair was messy, his face pale, his hands shaking as he tried to log in again and again. "It's frozen. Everything's frozen," he whispered, voice cracking. Then he ran upstairs to the closet. He threw open the doors. My side was empty. Every hanger bare. Every drawer open. He stared at the space where my life used to be and finally understood something was happening far bigger than an argument. He sank to the floor, still clutching his phone. His world was collapsing. And I was already gone. Before leaving, I had placed a single envelope on the bed. White, simple, quiet. Now he found it, hands trembling, breathing uneven. He tore it open. Inside were printed screenshots. Every message with his assistant. Every lie. Every kiss emoji. Every babe red heart. Behind them lay bank statements, prenup drafts, hidden accounts. Everything he thought I would never find. And on the very last page, my handwriting. "You paused for her. I paused your world." A small sound escaped him. Something between a sob and a choke. His empire, his lies, his secret life, exposed in a single envelope. He dropped the papers on the bed and sank forward, face in his hands. For the first time, he felt the weight I carried. And it crushed him. By noon, the boardroom was chaos. I watched from the hallway through the glass as his CFO slammed folders onto the table. "We have a crisis," he announced. "Massive irregularities. Unauthorized payments. Hidden transfers." Heads turned to Daniel. He looked lost. Broken. Sweating through his expensive suit. "This must be a mistake," he kept saying. "Someone sabotaged me." The CFO shook his head. These actions came from inside. From your credentials. Gasps rippled across the room. Then the board chair spoke sharply. Effective immediately, you are suspended pending full investigation. Daniel reached for the table, gripping the edge like he might fall. And, the chair added, your wife will serve as interim chair until the audit is complete. My heart thudded. Every eye turned toward me as I stepped into the room. His face, shock, fear, devastation, told me everything. This was only the beginning. Across town, his assistant was panicking. Reporters swarmed the building, photographing her as she ducked her head and tried to run inside. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Voicemails, emails, unknown numbers. She deleted messages from him, trying to hide their affair. But she deleted too late. Screenshots were already leaked, spreading online like wildfire. CEO in $100 million scandal linked to secret affair. Assistant named in corporate cover-up. Her world fell apart almost as fast as his. She tried to call him. He didn't answer. She tried to call me. I blocked her. Within hours, she received a formal subpoena. She would have to testify. Everything she thought she gained from him melted into ash. And she realized something he was just beginning to understand. Betrayal grows quickly, but consequences grow faster. By evening, the media storm exploded. Every news station showed his face, smiling in old interviews, now paired with words like fraud, infidelity, and financial misconduct. I sat on my couch, legs folded under me, sipping wine as anchors discussed his downfall. The same anchors who once praised him. He was seen as a visionary, one said. Now authorities are investigating misuse of company funds, including payments tied to a personal relationship. A photo of his assistant flashed across the screen. Blurred, but recognizable. I didn't smile. I didn't cheer. I just breathed. For the first time in years, the air felt light. My phone buzzed with messages. Coworkers, acquaintances, even old classmates. Everyone wanted the inside story. But I stayed silent. Because silence now was power. And the more I said nothing, the more the world listened. His mother called me first. Her voice shook the moment I answered. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I knew he was arrogant, but I never imagined this. I sat on the edge of my bed, listening quietly. She cried softly, saying she always admired my kindness, my patience, the way I supported her son. Finally she said, you didn't destroy him. He did that himself. For the first time since everything happened, my lungs finally loosened. I exhaled like a weight I'd carried for years had dropped off my shoulders. He made his choices, I replied gently. Now he's living them. She asked if I needed anything. I told her no. There was nothing left I wanted from that family except distance. When I hung up, I felt something warm spread through my chest. Not joy. Not victory. Relief. Relief that someone, anyone, finally saw the truth. The next morning, the news cycle was still spinning. His company released a statement denying wrongdoing, calling the audit unplanned and routine. He denied the affair too. Denied everything. I released no statement at all. I didn't defend myself. I didn't answer questions. I didn't post a single word. And somehow, my silence became louder than all his shouting. Investors began publicly supporting me instead. They spoke about how steady, honest, and hardworking I had always been. Some even mentioned my old presentations, praising the early foundation I helped build. Meanwhile, reporters noted that I had not been named in any wrongdoing. The narrative shifted. I wasn't the broken wife. I wasn't the ignored partner. I wasn't the victim. I was the comm center while his world spun apart. And people trusted me because I wasn't trying to sell a story. I simply let the truth breathe. Then the mistress broke. A reporter caught her outside her apartment, And instead of staying silent, she talked. And talked. And talked. Tears streamed down her face as she confessed that he told her, "My wife is just for appearances." Those words hit the media like a hammer. Public sympathy flipped in a single hour. Social media flooded with outrage. Not at me, but at him. People called him a liar, a manipulator, a user. Her story spread everywhere, the betrayal laid bare for the world to judge. She claimed she didn't know he was lying, but the public didn't buy it. The messages revealed she helped hide things from me. She wasn't innocent. But she was scared. And fear makes people talk. Now everyone saw them for who they truly were, a cheating CEO drowning in scandal, and a mistress scrambling to save herself. The truth was out. And it couldn't be stuffed back in. 3 days later, I received an email from a rival tech firm, one Daniel had always mocked, calling them the amateurs. The message was direct. "We have followed recent events. We believe you have leadership potential. We'd like you to head our new global initiative." I read the contract twice. The value made my heart stop. $150 million. I laughed softly, not out of joy, but out of irony. The company he dismissed now wanted me to lead them. I signed the contract using a pen from his old office, the one with his name engraved on the side. The moment the ink dried, I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't stepping into his shadow. I was stepping into my own sun. And this time, no one could dim it. He showed up at my new office 2 days later. No guards, no reporters, just him. His suit hung loose on him, like he had aged 10 years. His eyes looked hollow, bruised with sleepless nights. "You ruined me," he whispered. His voice cracked like broken glass. I closed the folder on my desk and leaned back in my chair. "No," I said calmly. "You paused for her. I just pressed play." His mouth opened, but no words came out. He knew it was true. Security stepped in at that moment, my security, and escorted him out. He didn't fight. He just looked back once, a man finally realizing he had destroyed the only person who ever stood beside him. I watched him disappear through the glass doors. For the first time, I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel anger. I felt done. Completely, beautifully done. The gala that once made me feel small now felt like a new beginning. I stepped out of the black car alone, wearing a silver dress that shimmered under the lights. Cameras flashed the moment they saw me. Reporters called my name, asking how I felt after recent events. I walked the red carpet calmly, shoulders back, chin lifted. No husband at my side. No lies weighing me down. Just me, whole, steady, rising. Inside the hall, people greeted me with respect instead of pity. Investors approached. Leaders nodded. Even strangers whispered, "That's her." A reporter asked, "What inspired your success?" I smiled. A single text. They laughed softly, not knowing how true it was. The band started playing. Crystal lights glittered overhead. For the first time in years, I felt like I belonged in every room he once tried to overshadow. I wasn't his wife here. I wasn't his victim. I was the woman who survived him. The divorce papers arrived from my lawyer 3 weeks later. Clean. Final. Irreversible. All assets, including my secured funds, were now legally mine. He lost the company. He lost the house. He lost the money. He lost me. I tucked the finalized documents into an envelope and sealed it. Then I added a small note inside, written in my neatest handwriting. "Babe Redheart says hi." I mailed it to the motel he was staying at, the same address listed on the public court documents. I didn't wait for a reaction. I didn't need one. Some endings don't need fireworks. Just truth. And the truth was simple. He taught me how to fight by showing me what betrayal feels like. Now his lesson was complete. One evening, I found a thick letter in my mailbox. His handwriting covered the front. I knew what it was before I opened it. and I knew I wouldn't read it. Still, I slid it out just to feel its weight. It was full pages and pages, thick with guilt, excuses, memories he suddenly valued now that they were gone. He wrote that he missed the smell of my hair, my laugh when he came home early, the way I said his name. He begged for another chance, said he was lost without me. I didn't read past the first lines. I carried the letter to my balcony, lit a match, and watched the flames rise. The paper curled, turned black, then drifted off the railing like soft ash. His words had controlled me once. Not anymore. I let them burn. I let him burn with them. Months later, I walked into my new boardroom. My name glowed on the wall in gold letters, CEO. People stood when I entered, nodding with respect. I moved with a calm I had never known before. The life I built now was mine alone. My work. My decisions. My power. I sat at the head of the table, touching the smooth wood, and felt a quiet pride settle into me. Not loud. Not sharp. Just steady. This was the justice I never expected. Peace. The meeting went well, full of new plans and new voices. When it ended, my assistant leaned close and whispered, "There's someone waiting outside." A man. My heart didn't jump or drop. I simply stood, curious. A man. But not him. Someone else entirely. I stepped into the hallway, and there he was, Evan. My old friend. The one who helped me follow the trails my husband tried to hide. He smiled, hands in his pockets. "You did it," he said softly. I smiled back. "No. I just stopped pausing for someone who didn't deserve my time." He nodded like he had expected that answer. We walked together down the hall, the future stretching wide and open in front of me. Outside, sunlight poured across the pavement. Warm. Golden. Honest. I breathed it in deeply. I had lost a marriage, but I had gained myself. And by morning, he finally knew what it felt like to lose everything he took for granted. If you love this story, make sure you hit subscribe for more true revenge stories.